Sappi is a global producer of fine paper and chemical cellulose. Market cap here 50.3 billion rand, a price to earnings ratio 7.6. Dividend yield not too shabby at 1.7%.
So we're talking about this one first, although Mondi is bigger, so that breaks our normal rules sequentially, but we'll forgive ourselves for that for a moment. Remember, this is the one that many years ago went into the fine coated wood-free paper, which is the glossy paper that is used for glossy magazines and also for annual reports and that kind of thing. That turned out not to be the best idea.
Yeah, and they're actually closing down a lot of those mills now and transforming them into specialty packaging mills.
So capital misallocation, choosing the wrong environment to focus on.
And I mean, if we look back, Sappi's most definitely been the unloved one in the sector in South Africa. But they're getting it right over the past few years. You know, their balance sheet was a big question mark a few years ago. They've reduced that, or they've improved that materially. And if you're looking for a rand hedge, you know, this is a great rand hedge with 70 or 80% of their costs in rand. Yet they sell, you know, most of their
70 to 80% of their costs in rands, and obviously revenue largely in foreign currency.
Yeah, 90% foreign currency.
Let's have a look at the share price graph.
So it's gone a little bit off the boil recently, but actually done really well over time and benefited a little bit from the weakening rand, although we know that's not been a one-way story. But I think Steve Binney, the new CEO, you know, for the last couple of years since taking over from Ralph Butker, has done a good job. They've reoriented the company, remember, towards more of this chemical cellulose business. So they've tried to get less involved with that coated wood-free. Chemical cellulose is a product you make from wood pulp, but it is used largely in these technical fibers and in other sort of specialist
Thank you for breaking that down for us.
And all sorts of things. That's still a fairly small-ish part of the business, but they have, by one means or another, become a fairly significant global player in that market.
Can we call it? You want to add anything else that we need to take into account
what about
before
debt levels?
We do call it?
Because there was a time about, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago where the debt levels looked absolutely worrisome. Yeah. But they have paid those down quite well.
As I mentioned earlier, their balance sheet was a big question mark, which I think caused a lot of people to sit back from this. They've sorted that out to a large extent. So that, you know,
because the balance sheet looked worrisome at the same time that global credit markets were sort of going into free fall in 08, 09, and they benefited significantly from just being able to hang in there until
and restructuring their debt, which is what you alluded to earlier.
Absolutely, and that's then helped their bottom line. If you look at the interest expense now, you know, their revenue also, you know, similar to the international paper company, revenue has been fairly flat over many years. But now in the last 2 or 3 years, we're starting to see those earnings come through. The trick for them now is obviously to try and grow that top line.
The top line.
Through the,
because they've probably taken out all the costs that they possibly can from the business. Paul, you're going to call this before Andrew gives you a hit?
You know, I've been not hot on them for so many years, and that's what the share charts look like. So I'm going to stick with not hot on account of like just trying to be somewhat consistent.
Because you were wrong previously, and hopefully now you will be validated.
Because you know how it works. Choose nuts. You change your view, and then you know that's when they start to underperform.
Out of bed. Hot or not?
Yeah, I'm also going to go not hot. I think just in this sector there might be another opportunity, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But you know, and let's give them a bit of time as they transition, you know, away from this fine coating towards, you know, the packaging and cellulose business, and see how they do.
Not hot.